It's the start of the Miami Open Masters Thousands tournament being held in Florida, and the qualifying rounds are over. I've researched player statistics, head-to-head results, and their current form to come up with my own prediction of how this tournament is going to unfold. Let's check out the draw. Only 96 men will be taking part in the main draw of the Miami Open. All 32 seeds have a bye in the first round and have automatically booked a place in the second round. I think a few seeded players would have been knocked out, starting with Echeverry losing to Brooksby. Diallo would have beaten Humbert, and Mickelson would have taken out Nori. Into the round of 16, Alcaraz will be playing Darderi. It wouldn't have been an easy route for Alcaraz, as he would have had to take on the on-form João Fonseca in his first match, as too would have Darderi had a battle on his hands against Khachanov in the round of 32. However, Alcaraz has beaten Darderi once before, and that match ended in straight sets, 6-3, 6-4, 6-love. I do think Alcaraz will progress through to the quarterfinals. In the second match of the round of 16, Casper Ruud will be taking on Jack Draper. Ruud would have also had a very challenging route to get to this round. He would have to beat the 2021 Miami Open champion, but not in form, Hubert Hurkacz, followed by his second round match against the 21 seed Lehečka. Jack Draper would have had a really tough one against Taylor Fritz in his second match. Ruud and Draper have only played once before, but that was on clay. This time on hard court, I do feel that Jack Draper will get the better of the Norwegian and progress through to the quarterfinals. Lorenzo Musetti will be taking on Tommy Paul in the fourth round. Would have probably had a bit of an easier route to get to the round of 16 compared to the American, who would have to have taken out Dimitrov in the third round. Musetti has only played Paul once before, and Tommy Paul got the better of the Italian on grass back in 2024. If Musetti can stay fit and play at his best, nothing stopping him from progressing through to the quarterfinals. I believe Alexander Bublik will be meeting Alex de Minaur in the round of 16. Bublik would have had to have beaten the 24th seed Vachereau, and de Minaur would have had to have beaten the on-form Atrofis, who he beat back in Rotterdam earlier this year in straight sets. I do feel, however, Alexander Bublik will beat de Minaur. It might be a close match, but I do see him going through to the quarterfinals. Having a look at the bottom half, Shelton will meet Medvedev in the round of 16. I do think Ben Shelton would have had a tricky match in the third round against the Canadian Diallo, as too would have Medvedev had to have gone past Cerundolo. Those two have never met before. Could be a tight match, but I do think that Medvedev will get the better of Shelton. He's on form, he's already won 2 tournaments this year. He had a fantastic final in the Indian Wells. Could be a close battle, but I do see the Russian progressing through to the quarterfinals. Lerner Tien, who I believe would have taken out Davidovich for Keenan in the round before, will be taking on Zverev in the round of 16, who I think would have had a tough match against Nakashima. We'll see his luck changing in his favor. Tien and Zverev have only played on 3 occasions in the past, and Zverev has won twice before, but I do feel that the American is getting better. He's improving, his aggressive play is fantastic, just needs to hold his head, and I think he will be making it through to the quarterfinals. In the 7th round of 16 match, Auger-Aliassime will be taking on Menchik. Both players would have had challenging matches en route to the 4th round. However, Menchik's 3rd round match against Tiafoe would have been a blockbuster. Auger-Aliassime and Menchik have both played on 2 occasions, with Menchik winning once and Auger-Aliassime winning once. Menchik has shown that he's capable of beating the best. I do feel that it's his time to shine. Menchik, in my books, will be progressing through to the quarterfinals. In the last round of 16, Andrei Rublev will be taking on Jannik Sinner. These players have played on 10 occasions in the past. Jannik Sinner getting the better on 7 occasions. I do feel that the Indian Wells champion will be progressing through to the quarterfinals. Straight into the first quarterfinal match. What a match it will be. Carlos Alcaraz taking on Jack Draper. The last time these two played one another was back in 2025 Indian Wells semi-finals. Jack Draper won that match in 3 sets. Carlos Alcaraz does have a better head-to-head, winning 4 out of 6 matches. I'm guessing this is going to be another 3-setter, but in favor of Carlos Alcaraz. See the Spaniard progressing through to the semi-finals. In the second quarterfinal match, we have Lorenzo Musetti taking on Alexander Bublik. These two have played on 4 occasions in the past, Bublik winning 3 of those matches. The most recent being in the Hong Kong final, Bublik won 7-6, 6-3. The Kazakh is playing so well, he's relaxed, he's in form. I see Alexander Bublik progressing through to the semi-finals. In the third quarterfinal, Daniil Medvedev will be taking on Lerner Tien. These two have also played on 4 occasions, and the American has got the better of the Russian on 3 occasions. Most recent encounter was in the Australian Open. Tien didn't drop a set, winning 6-4, 6-love, 6-3. I know that both players are really on form, but I do think that with home advantage, Lerner Tien will win this match. Might be close 2 sets, all 3 sets. Lerner Tien will progress through to the semi-finals. In the last quarterfinal match, Menchik will be taking on Sinner. The only time that these two have met was most recent in Doha, and Menchik won in 3 sets. However, that was a different Jannik Sinner. I think now he's full of confidence. He's going to take on Menchik, wanting his revenge. I see Jannik Sinner progressing through to the semi-finals. In the first semi-final match between Alcaraz and Bublik, we see that these two have never met before. And what a spectacle it would be to have these two players meet one another. Both are tactical geniuses. I see this match being one for the spectators. In the end, I do think that Carlos Alcaraz will find himself in the final. In the second semi-final match, Lerner Tien will have a tough one against Jannik Sinner. These two have only played on 2 occasions in the past, and most recently, Tien lost to the eventual winner in Indian Wells 6-1, 6-2. Sinner, brimming with confidence, I feel will find himself in the final. And there you have it. It's another Sin-Curaz dominated tournament. These two have played on 16 occasions, Alcaraz winning 10 times. Most recently, though, was at the end of last year, the ATP finals, where Jannik Sinner did get the better of the Spaniard 7-6, 7-5, and has only now been able to find a bit of form and possibly more confidence winning the Indian Wells. However, the Spaniard does have a better record when they're in the final. 5 times out of 8, Carlos Alcaraz has beaten Sinner in finals of tournaments. My champion for the Miami Open is Carlos Alcaraz.